Hey, what is up everybody, Reubin here. My name's Reubin and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2015. Now, for some of your more eagle-eyed viewers out there, you guys might have noticed something a little bit different. That is quite simply because I have switched over now from the game that I started off to showcase this game to a personal save of my own. Now, as you can see, the garage is quite a little bit different. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, everything is quite a bit different. And if you have a look at the top right hand side, you'll see that I've got 20,000 experience and I've got about $127,000 in cash. Now, this is done quite simply because I want to show you guys what the later game actually has to offer, what you can truly do with this game and what its true potential is once you've done the time of grinding through the boring jobs that have come in. Now, as you can see on my side, the jobs over here, some of them are still pretty easy, but the cars that come in and the vehicles that come in and the jobs that end up coming through are quite a little bit different. But we are not going to be doing a single job today. We're going to be doing a full restoration. But before we do that, you can see that we've got the paint shop that's open now. We've got the test path that's open now. Our parking lot is available, and so is our dyno. All of that is now available. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump through to the auction house and find ourselves a beautiful little car that we can restore. I'm tempted. I might go this way, all depends on what the car obviously goes for. So opening bid is at 13,000. And as you can see, people are going to be bidding. Now obviously I stay away to see how high it actually ends up going before I actually throw my own bid in there. 35,000, 36, 37, 38. Remember I said my limit was about 40 grand and we've just blown past. So the starting bid on this vehicle is going to be 13,000 and look at that gorgeous beast. I want it. I really do want it, but please, it needs to go for a decent price. Also, once again, 40 grand is about my limit. I don't want to go much higher than that. And I think it's going to blow past that because we're already basically at $20,000. Opening bid was 13,865. Oh, hold on. Okay, so it looks like it's just me and one other person. So I might actually have room to get this vehicle. Come on, give it to me. That's fine. I'll keep playing this game all day long. I've got quite a bit of room. I want this car. We're at 28,000 and this person is just keeping me on my toes over there. I'm waiting till the last second to try and bid for this. Hopefully it plays some kind of psychological game on the other bidder. I doubt it. I doubt the game is that in depth. I think it's simply a case of all these cars have got a certain amount that they're going to sell for, all dependent on whether you come back or not. Yes, got the car for $31,865. So it's busy loading up our Tempest Magnum AWD W12. Now the W12, if I'm not mistaken, refers to two V6s. So it's the equivalent, as you all know, the Bugatti has got the W18 engine in it. Now that means that it's two V8s, sorry, the W16 engine. It's two V8s slapped together, turned on its side, and I'm not mistaken, that is the engine that the Bugatti has got. Now the W12, I do believe that it's the same concept. Instead of it being two V8s, it's two V6s. So as you can see, I want you all to take like a mental picture of what this car looks like now versus what this car is going to look like when we are done. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove all these body panels. Because obviously I'm going to replace everything, so I don't need this junk on this car anymore. So one thing I'm going to do, however, first is get this car into the paint booth. Have it painted, because unfortunately you need all four tires in order to move the vehicle around your workshop. So let's move this beautiful vehicle over to the paint shop. Now as you can see, the car's value as it stands is $27,000. I paid, if I'm not mistaken, $31,000 or $32,000 for it. As you can see, almost everything in the car needs to be replaced. So restoration jobs are big jobs. There's almost nothing in the vehicle that is of any decent quality. But let's move it over to the paint shop. Okay, so here we are. Now I want to go for a classic silver. Give it that nice, beautiful, classic muscle look. So we're going to go for like a bright silver. I don't want to make it black. I don't want to make it white. Let's go for like a nice gunmetal silver. Something like that. I think that'll look quite nice. Maybe a little bit. No, let's not go too dark. Something like that. And let's paint the car. Okay, so the car's been painted. Now, I know this is backwards, and this is obviously where the parts come in that is not 100% accurate. Because as you can see, the car's still got quite a bit of damage to its body. But that is where this blowtorch comes into play. Because now, $92,000, we have fully restored the integrity of the body. So the body is good. Now it just comes down to the actual components. Quickly hop in over here and we'll see our beautiful classic interior. So without fucking around too much more, let's move this over to the lift because it is going to have to be there. And let's start stripping this baby apart. Once again, I'll have to grab the oil drain over here and bring it over because it is one thing we are going to have to do. But before we do that, we can jump in over here and we can start stripping all this nonsense away. There we go. Whip out the air filter and let's pull out the air filter base. Then we do the same on the other side. Now once again, I'm not going to be doing a classic restoration on this car. I'm going to be doing a performance restoration. So meaning I'm going to slap the biggest, baddest performance parts I can in this car. I'm going to be pushing for about 600 to 700 brake horsepower. That is my goal. Okay, now that's off. We can remove the intake manifold. And while I'm here, just remove the battery, remove the brake servo. Okay, now let's pull out these ignition coils. There we go. Pull out the ignition coils on this side as well. There we go. Let's remove the engine head cover on this side. And there's one bolt there. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out where that one last bolt was. Let's pull out the spark plugs. There we go. Now in order to get to the back section over here, we are going to have to unfortunately get under the car first. But we can remove as much as we possibly can from the top first. Okay, that's off. Let's remove the engine cover on this side. There we go. Once again, let's pull out the spark plugs on this side. And here comes the timely process. All of these little covers, they need to come off. So as you can see in the top right hand corner, we have got $92,362 to play with. So we've got quite a little bit of cash to obviously do the full restoration. Now I'm hoping that's going to be enough money for this. I hope it is. Otherwise I'm going to have to take on a couple of stupid jobs just to try and cover the costs for fully restoring this vehicle. And that's a bad thing, because if we don't have the money, it means we won't have the money either for small little jobs if anything needs to be replaced. But because we are so late in the game, it allows us to at least repair parts. So we hopefully could do that if everything goes horribly wrong, which I hope it doesn't. I do believe that is everything I can remove at this moment. So let's raise this lift up. Let's bring the oil drain forward as well, because we are going to drain out the oil while we are down here. If I'm not mistaken, the oil tank is right there. Come on, I need to get to that little drain port right there. Now that's the bolt. Where the hell is this one's? Oh, there it is there. Oh my gosh. And I end up spilling in any case because the thing wasn't underneath. Damn it. Oh well. So I wasted a lot of time just trying to find that damn drain plug. Okay, so that is off now. Then while we're under here, let's remove these caps that are holding the bearing, the crankshaft in place as well. So let's take that off. Remove all of that. And then I'm going to try and work as efficiently as I possibly can on this. So I'm not going to jump around too much. I'm literally just going to remove everything that is down here. It's not going to be pretty taking everything apart, but we're not focusing on the taking apart. We're not looking at saving any parts. We're not looking at trying to remember where some of these parts go, because I'll explain that part once we get there. Right now, we are simply just stripping this vehicle because we don't want a single part left in this car when we're done with it. To our transfer case. Then the gearbox itself. Okay, and then we've got the release bearing over here, the clutch pressure plate, then the pressure plate itself, and then the flywheel. There we go, that's off. And now that that's off, we can actually remove the timing cover. So in other vehicles, you can see the difference. The timing cover is easy to access on some of the other vehicles. On this one, however, not so much. It's quite difficult to get to the timing section. You have to remove the entire gearbox to get to it. So as you can see later on, some of the more what would normally be straightforward jobs, aren't so straightforward anymore. Let's go ahead, let's remove this tire quickly. Remove the brake caliper, the brake pad, and then the ventilated disc brake. Remove that axle. Remove the bearing, then the wheel hub. And we can loosen the tie rod on the other side, the outer tie rod and the inner tie rod. Slap these off, pull that out. Remove the steering rack. Remove the rear end link, the front end link. And we can remove the sway bar along with the front differential. And once we've pulled out the rubber bushing on that side, we should be able to remove the suspension arm over here, and then the cross member in the section itself. There we go. And then the front knuckle. And we can also, while we're here, remove the oil filter. And I do believe that is everything we can do under the car in the front and by the engine. The next pieces come from the back of the car. So as you can see, it is slowly but surely starting to turn into a shell of a vehicle. So let's remove everything we can at the back here. The rear suspension arm A. While that's off, we remove that small rubber bushing, slide off the knuckle, remove the sway bar at the back, remove the last couple of bearings that are all still attached to the top here. And then the cross member rear wheel drive can be removed. Now, as far as I know, that is everything under the vehicle. It's now simply a case of dropping the vehicle, removing the pistons, raising the vehicle back up so that we can remove the crankshaft, and then removing the engine block. And then we could possibly have a look. Now, before we continue, obviously we have to slide off these damn chains. So that chain's off, that chain's off, that chain's off. That means I can now remove these gears, slide out the camshafts, and with the camshafts being out, I can now remove the engine head as well. And this allows me now to slide out those pistons. One for one, all of these beautiful little pistons will slide out. And there we go. That is our vehicle completely stripped. All of its rusted parts have been removed. The body's been painted. The body's been restored. It's now simply a case of smacking together this absolute beauty. But once again, we've now got all of that junk inside here. So I'm just going to sell it all for $9,642. So we've basically recovered the price of painting the vehicle and restoring the vehicle in the parts that we're selling off on this. So we're back up to $101,000. Now, I do believe that should be more than enough to fully restore this vehicle. But I'm not going to start with the engine. On this one, I'm actually going to start underneath the car. But before we go any further, I want to go over to the tuner shop and I want to choose a nice set of rims. However, I'm not actually seeing something, but those look pretty standard or pretty close to the classic styled American muscle rims. I could be wrong though, because we do also once again have the car parts over here, the body shop. Oh, sorry, the wheel shop that allows us one or two more custom wheels. Hold on. Tuner shop, rims. Never mind. These are the these are the custom rims. Obviously, we don't have the biggest choice, but we do have a nice choice at least, and I'm liking these over here. I think I'm going to go with that. So, 4 of those rims. Rim Modern 02 Black. So, we've got the rims we need. Now, it's simply a case of, you'd ask yourself, wait, we've got nothing in our inventory other than the rims. How do you know what comes first? If you switch over to the assembly mode, it shows you what needs to go where. It shows you, if once you hover over it, what will need to go there. So now it's simply a case of jumping in and out from the shop to get the parts we need. So the first thing we need is a front suspension cross member B. So it's simply a case of typing in a cross member, and it's the front suspension cross member B. So it's the case of slapping in the new part. It's that simple. Now the next one is a front differential W12. So front diff W12. There we go. Slap the new part into place as well. Now, it becomes a little bit easier because obviously if you're buying something for one side, you just duplicate it on the other side. So you just buy 2 of every part. Stuff like the calipers and the brake pads, you already know you're going to need 4 of them. So now when we jump over to this section, we know this is the front steering knuckle B. So what we'll do is we'll just simply type in knuckle B. Front steering knuckle B, so we just need 2 of them. While I'm here, I know for a fact that I am going to need 4 brake pads, 4 calipers. Now when it comes to the brakes, I know for a fact that the front brakes are ventilated brakes, so 2 in the front, and 2 standard brake discs at the back. So we've already got that part sorted out. We don't need to come back for those at all. But now it's simply a case of we need the front wheel hubs. Front wheel hub. Once again, we need 2 of them. 1 for this side, 1 for the other side. Bolt that one back into place. Then we need that brake disc that we've got already. I need the wheel hub bearing. Now, I can't remember if the rear wheels needed these bearings as well. So I'm going to start off by just buying 2. Obviously, rather buy too little than too much. Now we need the front drive axle E. So front drive axle E. We'll buy 2 of those. Slap those ones on and bolt it into place. And now we need bottom suspension arms. There we go. Now, are they A or B's? They are quite simply A's. So we need 2 of those. Bolt that into place. Okay, next thing we need is the wishbone shock absorber and a steering rack. So quite simply, we just type in wishbone. There we go. We need 2 of them. We are going to need the steering rack. There we go. We are going to need front springs. Actually, I should have actually typed in spring. There we go. We're going to need 2 rear springs as well. We're going to need 2 spring caps for the rear. Now we can type in cap over here. We should need 2 front shock absorber caps, and we need 2 rear shock absorber caps. Those are guaranteed parts that we are going to need, quite simply from memory as I was taking everything apart. There's the front spring, and there's the rear shock absorber cap. We'll slap the steering rack on, and then we need 2 outer tie rods and 2 inner tie rods. So once again, 1, 2, 1, 2. We've got the parts we need for that. Slap that on, bolt it into place. Then the thing we need on top here is the upper suspension arm. There we go. I need 2 of them once again, 1 for either side. Bolt those into place. Now, as you can see, and now for this we need 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 big bushings that are going to be placed in over here. Obviously, it's all those fine little things that you don't want to miss out on. Okay, so we've got the 4 bushings. We can quickly bolt them into place. We'll swivel around this way. Bolt that one into place. And then one thing we also need is a front sway bar. It's almost something I missed completely. And it's a standard front sway bar. Okay, now that that's into place, we can now get the front end link Bs. End link B. There we go. I need 2 of them. Bolt that into place. Let's jump over to the other side, because now it becomes relatively simple. So let's have a look at how gorgeous these rims actually look. Damn. Okay, those are beautiful. I won't lie, those are stunning. But before I go too far with the rims, what I actually want to do is a tire swap. Because we're going to be putting a shitload of power through these tires, I'm going to put a set of slick tire pluses on. So it's 8,000 for a set of 4 of those tires. But we're doing that for a reason, because this is going to give us all the traction possible. And as you can see, obviously without the fairing over there, it looks kind of shit. But you'll see once the whole car is put together, just how beautiful it actually is. So we'll go jump back to this side, put the brake pad on along with the brake caliper, and slap the front wheel on as well. Bolt these back into place. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, everything is starting to take shape. Now the next thing we could have a look at is the front exhaust section W12. Now this, I'm going to go over to the performance shop, and I'm going to go to the exhaust section, and I'm going to type in W12. Now these are all the parts from the exhaust section. W12, come now. W12. There we go. There's the front exhaust section, W12. I need 2 of them. I need... let's have a look over here quickly. Let's just jump over to the exhaust. Let's put both of those in place. As you can see, they are bright chrome. And I don't know if you noticed, but when we actually did the part, at the top, and right underneath the picture, it shows plus 1.8% horsepower. So it's basically all of these performance parts are just giving us that extra oomph, just that extra drive that we are going to need. Then we need standard catalytic converters. We'll grab 2 of those. Put those in place as well. And that's an extra, if I'm not mistaken, 1.8 brake horsepower each. So that it comes to 3.6 horsepower more just on those converters. Then we need 2 standard middle mufflers. There we go. Bolt those 2 into place. And then we need rear mufflers W12. I can't spell. Rear mufflers W12s. And those are those. So 2 of them. And that means we can now bolt those boys into place. And they look absolutely gorgeous. Those are stunning. Now while we're at the back here, we are going to continue with putting everything together. So now this is the knuckle housing A. So once again, we're going to start buying in 2s. So we go over to the car performance, the car part shop. And what is this called again? The knuckle housing A. Knuckle housing A. Now, if memory has served me well, and if I've double-checked everything, that has been everything we need for the underside of the vehicle. We've got the suspension in place, we've got the exhaust system in place, we've got everything I think we need on the underside of this vehicle. So as you can see at the back, those rims suit the car quite nicely. Now it's a case of doing the big boy. Dropping this car into place. And let's have a look. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is obviously the engine itself. So let's have a look. We need an engine block, a W12 engine block. Let's go jump over. Engine block. Oh, nope, I was in completely the wrong spot and I can't spell. So W12 engine block. There we go. Now that beautiful block is in place, we can actually go in underneath and put that crankshaft in place as well. Now, as far as I understand, crankshaft, it's a W12 series crankshaft. I'm taking a shot in the dark there. It could have been an expensive waste, but it was the correct part. Now the next thing we need are those beautiful little caps that obviously cover everything. So I need 3 crankshaft bearing caps. There we go. There they are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I just waste my money? No, I needed 4. Thank goodness. I thought I just bought way too many. Choose the one on the outer end as well. Come on, move over. Let me see it. There we go. Bolt that baby back into place. Choose that one. Bolt that baby back in place. Bolt it back in place. And the last cap. Oh, okay, so I was actually 1 short, so it's 5 and not... Okay, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. I need 1 more cap. Okay, assembly mode. Choose the section correctly. If I could just actually get there. Now just bolt it in place. Okay, so those are back on. Now we can actually slide those pistons in from the top as well. So let's drop this down. Beautiful. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the performance shop and say pistons. Now the piston with conrods W12s. I just want to make sure that it does actually use W12s and not just standard pistons. Yes, it does. So I need 2, 4, 6. I need 12 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that was expensive. That was really, really expensive. But we've now at least got all the pistons we need to power this beast. Slide those in as well. We'll switch over to this side. Drop in those pistons as well. There we go. Okay, next thing we need is a thermostat. Now, the thermostat, I don't think you actually get a performance part for it. No, you don't. So we need the thermostat for W12. There we go. Bolt that baby back into place. There we go. Okay, now what are we going to do first? Let's finish off the timing sections at the bottom here first. But let's do the alternator. So, performance shop. We need alternators. There we go. Bolt that bright chrome beast into place. The next thing we need is the crankshaft pulley for a V8. Pulley. Oh, there's a performance shop. Obviously, it's not going to give me anything in the performance shop. The crankshaft pulley for a V8 is that one. Now that's in place. Just bolt it in quickly. Now we need 1, 2, 3 idle roller A's. I can't spell for the life of me. 1, 2, 3. Now we can bolt those into place. There we go. Other side left. And then the water pump for a W12. Water pump. Oh no, wrong one. Water pump W12. Ooh, that was nearly expensive. And bolt that baby in place as well. Okay, now we need the water pump pulley for W12. That is that baby. Bolt it in place. There we go. Okay, now I don't think we're actually going to be able to put anything else on the front timing section. But let's put this power steering pump in as well while we're down here. And you know what, let's just get the battery. The servo. And I think it was... Oh, what was it? Let's just put that in while I'm down here. Power steering pump V8. Performance shop. We're going to switch over to pumps. Power steering pump V8. It's also a nice big chrome beast. Select the coil section. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Once again, I'm not exactly counting. There's too many of them to count. Switch over to the other side. I definitely did not buy enough to cover all of them. But now I know I only need another 4. There we go. There's the last 4 that I needed. Now we can go ahead and put the intake manifold for intake manifold BW12. Damn. Intake manifold B for W12. That's that puppy right there. Bolt it into place. There's quite a lot of bolts. I'm going to line this up just to make the job a little bit easier. There we go. Now we can put the fuel rail for W12 as well. Let's quickly switch over. Let's see if there's a performance part for it. Fuel rail W12. Yes, there is. Lovely. Now the intake manifold A. Intake manifold A for W12. It's that one. We've now got this beautiful chrome cover on the top. And then we need 2 W12 throttles. Now I don't think... Oh, they are. Okay. So we'll grab 2 of those performance parts for that as well. Bolt that into place. If that's not stunning, I don't know what you find stunning then. Okay, so let's have a look. What is still needed? There's the brake servo that we can put back into place as well. Now we've got the fuel filter over here that I need as well. Fuel filter. There we go. Okay, have I missed out on anything? Yes, I need the exhaust manifolds now for W12s. Okay, so once again, we'll switch over to the manifolds, but I need the exhaust manifolds for W12s. I need 2 of them. And then as far as I know, I also need the superchargers. Well, technically turbos. They're not superchargers, and there is a difference. Okay, turbocharger V12. W12, sorry. Turbo W12s. 1,000 $200 each. So they aren't cheap. And then the air filter base. So we need base, air filter W12 base. There we go, and we can slap that in place as well. Then we quite simply need the air filter. Air filter for W12. There we go, and then air filter cover A. I think I actually will need another one of those. Air filter cover A, W12, and B, W12. I know I'm going to need both parts. There we go. Go back inside the engine and let's drop to this section over here. Oh, wrong button. So we need a timing chain sprocket. I can't spell, of course. Timing chain sprocket for W12. There we go. Bolt into place. Next thing we need is a timing chain B. Timing chain B for W12. Timing chain A for W12. And another. No, fuck, I bought the wrong part. Never mind. First time I've actually wasted money on a part I did not need. Go, Reubin. We need another timing belt. So as you can see in my inventory, the only thing I've actually got is the one timing chain I did not need. So we're going to sell it. Now I need to get under the car again in order to put those things back into place. But while I'm up here, let's make one job done as well. Seeing that the sump tank is back underneath the car, we're going to pour the oil into the engine now as well, because there's nothing missing from the engine itself. It's now simply a case of putting the gearbox on. Once the gearbox on, slapping on the drive axle, putting this car back on the floor, putting on all the body parts, and our beast should be done. And then we'll take it for a quick dyno run, then a quick jag race, and see what we can do with this beast. Okay, so next part we need to do is the timing cover for W12. So standard parts, we need a timing cover for W12. There we go. Bolt that puppy into place. Then we need the performance parts on the flywheel. Done. Nope, not done. I wasted money again. The flywheel for the W12 is not a performance part. For every other vehicle, it is. And I make that mistake quite often when I work with W12 engines. So now we need the clutch. Everything related to the clutch. The clutch pressure plate performance part. The clutch plate itself performance part. The slap that flywheel on plates. The clutch plate. And the pressure plate as well. Bolt it in. And then we're going to need the cover bearing as well. But we'll have to go back into our tablet for that. So now we need the bearing. That's that one. Go into our inventory, sell the flywheel we didn't need, and then we need a W12 gearbox. W12 gearbox. There we go. Bolt this beast into place, and we're going to need a throttle as well for W12. I think it's actually a V8 throttle. Yep, thought so. So not a throttle, starter. V8 starter. There we go. Bolt that puppy into place as well. Next section is the transfer case for W12. I don't actually know if there's a performance part for that. Nope, there is not. Transfer case, W12. Bolt it into place. And that, after the drive axle, sorry, the drive shaft. So let's search shaft. And that was not a joke intended. A standard drive shaft. $650 on that. Bolt that drive shaft into place. And I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that after that, that is this car's inner workings and mechanics done. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. Now, if we go into our workload over here, we can see the car is already, just as it stands, without the rest of the body parts put on, valued at $110,000. So we made about, just on that, about a $10,000 profit. Quite simply because we spent $30 on the car and we've spent about another $50 on parts and everything like that for the vehicle. So we're going to move this car to the center floor over here. As you can see, that beautiful engine is in. Those tires are on. Now we need to replace the body parts. As you can see, this car now, from when we bought it, looks absolutely stunning. If we do a quick once around the vehicle, that engine is a beast. The interior looks stunning. The car's overall restoration was done bloody well, and those beautiful exhaust pipes sticking out the back there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move this vehicle over to the dyno. Drive shaft C. We forgot a drive shaft. How did we... okay, not we, it's me. How did I forget a drive shaft? Where the fuck is a drive shaft? Oh well, I think that's actually it. So can we move it over to the dyno now? Yes, we can. Okay, so now we're obviously here where the dyno section is. So I was aiming for about 600 to 700 brake horsepower. So let's have a look. 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Holy shit. So we are sitting with a beast. 1,302 brake horsepower. Now obviously we can possibly test out the ECU chip inside the vehicle to possibly give it just that much more, but I'm not going to fuck around with that. I simply want to take this beast, because there's no other way of putting it. This is a fucking animal of a car, and we're going to take this baby over to the jack strip and see exactly what it can do. Holy shit. So let's see what this car does performance wise. Holy shit. Zero to 100 in 2 seconds. It does the quarter mile in 9.2 seconds. Does a mile in... does a kilometer, 1,000 meters in 16.352. I need to restart it because my start was useless. I was hitting the rev limiter through and through. I want to do another run on that and see what this car's true potential is. Now, I know first, second, and third we're going to run through. I know I've got 8 gears to work with, so use up all of it. We're going to try and get that it's close to 9 seconds or possibly under 9 seconds for the quarter mile. If I can do that, that is fucking beastly. But 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. 1, 2, you're at 100 kilometers an hour. Holy shit. Come on. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. 0 to 100 in 1.9 seconds. Does the quarter mile in 8.5 seconds. That is fucking beastly. And does a mile in 15 seconds. It's got a W12 engine, full performance system right through. I don't think there's a single stock part on that engine. That thing is beast. And now we came into this job at 110,000 if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, after paint and after selling off the parts we had $101,000. Now we're down to $35, obviously buying all the parts for this vehicle. We're going to go ahead and sell all these headlights because for some unknown reason the game is preventing me from putting it in. So let's have a look. Once I sell this beast, I'm going to be selling it for $173,000. And we're sitting on $210,000. So based on that, based on buying the car, stripping it out, but we were left, obviously, after we sold off all the parts, was 110, spending a certain amount of cash on the car. I think we made close to $100,000 profit on this vehicle, because I think before we went in, we were sitting on 130,000. So it's about a $70,000 to $100,000 profit off of that beast. Now that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why this game at a later date becomes so freaking awesome. Now, I do hope you guys enjoyed that video. Obviously, as you guys can tell, it's quite a little bit longer than the previous ones I've done. But as you can see, the amount of work that goes into it is a lot more, but well worth it. And remember, in the beginning of the episode, I told you to take a mental image of what that ugly fucking thing looked like compared to what we were left with. Now, I do hope you guys are enjoying the series and this episode. I might revert back to the original game I've got with you guys just to show a little bit more about what needs to be done for you to get to this point. But that's about it from my side. Now, I really do hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see all you beautiful people in my next video. But obviously, until then, cheers.